You are live.
Okay, good afternoon. This is Bill Kanda, Chairman of the Board of Health. Today is Tuesday, May 4th, 2021, and it is 1:31. Official time on our wall. I'd like to remind everybody to silence your phones. I just did it because I even unsilenced it after I missed 6 calls after the last meeting. So get them silenced. This meeting is being recorded by Zoom and by the official clerk of the. It's not, is it?
Record those.
Okay, that's right. So it's just Zoom. And it's also available by phone dial in. How many we have online? Seven. Okay. So we'll call this meeting to order and let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Lucas, do you want to start us off?
Yeah. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Lucas. Roll call, Kelly.
BOH member Kanda,
Here.
BOH member Flower,
Present.
BOH member Day,
Present.
County Attorney Clint Smith,
Who doesn't have an agenda is present.
yes, sir. Public Health Director Dr. Brown,
Present.
and Clerk to the BOH Kelly Camper.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. Audience introductions. There's a few new people. Go ahead, Lucas.
Lucas App, a resident of Westcliff.
Back in the back.
Reggie Foster, PIO.
Okay, and we've got Jordan Benson on the trigger back there, and our Sergeant of Arms. And is anybody in the hallway? No. Okay, if we get to questions online, we'll have you introduce yourself, and we'll speak slowly and clearly so Kelly can list you. Any amendments to the agenda, gentlemen? Tom?
No.
Kevin?
No.
Me either. So we've been busy on the Board of Health. You got a couple minutes that are needing to be approved from April 7th and the April the 14th. I got through those and they look pretty good to me. I'll say you guys. About you, Kevin? Good chance.
I did not catch anything I need to change.
You talk.
No, I would move to accept the minutes if that's where we're at on the agenda.
That's where we're at. How about you?
I would second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept the minutes, April 7th and April 14th. Okay, and with that, Kelly, you got a book here real quick. You want to go? And
As soon as you vote.
I will. I just wondered if that's your plan. Okay. Been moved and seconded to accept the minutes, April 7th and 14th. All in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. All right.
Okay, it's all you get.
She'll be right back. All right, we got some status reports, Board of Health first here. Kevin, you got anything to point out today?
Actually, I do not. Off the top of my head. So I would defer.
Tom?
I don't have anything to report. I would just make a note here that at some point, I think we need to engage in a conversation with Cliff about any needs he might have pertaining to that American Rescue Plan. So I don't know when we want to do that. Doesn't have to be today, but
No, that's something we got to get the team on anyway and put your thoughts together on stuff we need because of COVID, even from the Board of Health point of view on a bigger picture. Okay, good point. I don't have anything new either to add. So while Kelly's doing the job she's doing right now, we don't need to worry about voting on this. I'd like to have you give us a status, Dr. Branham.
We have 3 current positives listed in Seegers. One of them is, he lists his residence as Canyon City. So I don't know why he is listed with us, but we actually do have 2 people who have been listed as positives here. So one of them, the only reason that he was listed was that he went in to have another medical concern taken care of. And of course, they're testing everybody for COVID and he turned up positive.
Okay, good. How do you fix the problem of somebody reporting on our dime?
They, I think, have my phone number on speed dial because I'm making calls.
Okay, so you did already point out that that's not one of our rates.
Not appropriate for us.
Okay.
And I took care of 2 others yesterday that were no longer, they're no longer in isolation. I mean, it's so long down the road that it makes no difference from public health standpoint to have them even listed.
So what is our stats then?
So we actually have 2. We have one positivity rate or percentage of 4.4 and a 2-week positivity status of 8.6. Cumulative positives for almost 14 months now of 190. Cumulative tests of 3,006, 93.61% PCRs. Current hospitalizations, none. Cumulative deaths for that period of time, though not due to COVID, but still among the positives. 1, the school and camp guidance restrictions have been lifted except if there is an outbreak in the camp or in the school. And then things go back in restrictions immediately under outbreak rules.
So the school currently is unrestricted.
Unrestricted. The restaurants, the staff are not even required by the governor's order, executive order, to wear masks if 85% of the staff have been vaccinated.
Okay.
So if you walk in to a restaurant and you see no server or cook or whatever wearing a mask, you would do well to ask.
But that's the state here,
That's
the county here.
That's the state.
Keep it separated. So
Right.
you know what we're doing.
I'm sorry. And those are basically, do you have any other specific questions?
Just questions on, we had that quick outbreak. It looks like we handled it pretty well. Can you give us?
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Just on that for real quick.
On the 30th, that was on Friday, we had held an appreciation luncheon for all the Custer County volunteers who have made these thousands of vaccinations possible over the last 4 months. From those who made appointments to those who arranged the medical supplies to the many nurses, food providers, kitchen staff, observers, computer input technicians, sanitization staff, the posse, sheriff's posse, admissions, restaurant management, consultation review and behavioral health support, management coordinators and facilitators. The community turned out a really impressive level of support, just really amazing. We want expressly to thank Sola Vista, the posse, EMS, the cattle women, and other community members who, in addition to the MRC, provided the necessary support that allowed vaccination clinics to serve our county residents and others, by the way, for the past 5 months. Some of these continue to provide vaccination or vaccine services out of the Public Health Agency. So many people did so much logistically on a volunteer basis for their fellow community members. Very impressive. Our community owes them a very big thank you. This was rewarded by the many smiles and other spoken expressions of thanks by participants, but a special official word of commendation goes out to this valley's residents, businesses, and organizations who contributed well over 1,000 hours without charges or requests for recognition to the county itself, unlike the vast majority of other state counties who had to bill the state and federal government taxpayers. So
That's pretty impressive, and I was sure impressed with how smoothly you got it. The wheels ironed over there, or oiled, I should say, to make things happen like they did.
people knew their job so well by the end of that Lang Hall expedition that they kept saying, do we not have patients showing up? I mean, it was just running that smoothly.
Mhm.
They were handling the same numbers, but not with problem, not with consternation at all.
So how is it going to transition then now?
Well, as of day after tomorrow, we are back at the Public Health Agency and doing the drive-through, just like we're doing all the other vaccinations, all the other checks and balances and so on for public health work out the back door on the back side of the building there on 15 Hermit Lane. And they literally drive up. We have the metal door swung open. The inside door is all glass, so we see outside. Literally, they drive through. They don't get out of their cars, take the information, do the injections, have them pull around and park. We will have several people observing while they're in their parked cars, make sure everybody's happy and healthy and ready to go. And when the 15 or 30 or 45, whatever the person's public health or their health, I guess, personal health demands, then they'll be turned free to go back home again.
How many do you have signed up? Is there a lot or a few, or is
We
it gotten
have
less?
37 for Thursday. We have 33 for Friday, and it's changing. Those are booked solid, okay? But it's changing for every week. And in the future weeks, it will only be held on Fridays. And we were filling for those. So as people need it and desire, they're letting us know. The same hotline number, the 719-430-4601 number that we've been using for the last months. And we just book them in there and let them know and go through the question set that we asked for all of them. Have they had any vaccine responses? Are they taking fillers or using anything else that would predispose them to problems?
How do you now get the word out? It seems to me that there's still time to make an announcement in the 2 newspapers that the venue has changed, because there's a lot of people that's locked into Lang Hall probably.
Right. And we have phoned everybody.
Phone them,
And every-
it's about the people that haven't got an appointment
Right.
yet.
And so they phone us asking for an appointment. We give them the number, and then the word is out directly to them, and a time is given to each of them.
And so today's press release, or however you're handling the meeting today, reports of where we are, maybe you can write in.
Yes, sir.
The new venue,
Yes, sir.
just a suggestion. Anything else on that? Before we move on, any questions, Kevin, on what he said so far? Tom?
Yes, I do. Thank you. So you've mentioned something I'll come back to in just a second, but is Tony's Pizza open, or was this, did they open specifically for your luncheon?
Had the open sign on when I drove past,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I was impressed.
Were they open the day you had your luncheon?
Yes,
I thought they were.
yes. Yeah, there were people coming in and out.
Okay.
Mike Helton says they're open for business again.
Okay.
They closed yesterday. Oh, well, sorry.
Maybe that's a normal day.
And then you had mentioned in your report about pertaining to our outbreak rules. How do we define an outbreak for COVID?
Well, the outbreak is actually defined for us. And we submit, like in this situation, there were 2 where we had some families involved. There were 2 potentials for an outbreak, but the state only defined 1.
So we were following sort of their guide, what they thought was
Yes.
an outbreak, and then we're containing it.
That's right.
So,
Exactly.
Okay.
And so when they said, okay, this is an outbreak, the other one is not, when we discovered through kind of tracing down that it was not the whole volleyball team or anything like that, it were just people within a home, that those were the people who were actually turned COVID positive.
none of them turned positive in the test the school did.
True.
Okay.
True. Well, 1 was, but not because
That was
of the
because
school.
it's already done.
That's right. All the rest of them were negative.
Okay.
And so how does the state then define for us what an outbreak is?
Once again, there are a number of criteria, and they look at whether or not it looks like it is not confined within a family unit or a simple
What business? Or-
business, but it can be a business. But if it's contained within the members of that subtle, defined group. then
Church
they-
maybe.
Right. Then they do not consider it an outbreak.
Do we?
I passed that question along to them and suggested that I agreed with them because we knew essentially everybody who had been contacted, and we knew everybody, all of those people were tested because they got a lot of the negative tests back from the school, or excuse me, back from the clinic. And the school also saw all of those, which they have to. And because there were none of the other students or parents or faculty members or workers of any kind in the school that showed positive, then they said, and I said, okay, yeah, this looks like a confined thing, and I wrote it up as an outbreak, and they accepted that, but they did not make it a school-wide outbreak. So each, as we've talked about before, each situation is going to be kind of identified or defined by the potential for spread as measured by people who take tests, who get sick, in any way, shape, or form appear to be members of the community who are of concern.
I will follow up after you're done, Tom. Go ahead.
So we don't have a number.
No, it's not a number. It is very little. 2 people can be an outbreak,
I would agree.
or 40 people can be an outbreak, but it depends on the circumstances. So each one with epidemiology involved, each one will be assessed on that basis. But it's not there is no set number, but the minimum would be 2 and the maximum is unlimited.
So if the media comes out and said we had an outbreak in the courthouse or an outbreak at school, that's up for debate. Could it be accurate? We may think it's not accurate.
Right. So,
Can I follow up on that? Because before I forget it, you wouldn't do anything different no matter what's classified. You're going to be, from our point of view, not from a state point of view,
Right.
you would be contact tracing ourselves and working with the state to help, because that's who our agent
That's
is
right.
right now. And you would follow it, whether it's confined to a family or whether it's spotted all over. Right?
Exactly.
So we are making sure we chase it, because we could tell immediately that way whether there's another person, and that might change
That's right.
how you're handling isolation or whatever.
And on this one, even though there are numerous people involved, those people have already been identified by the people who were initially initially involved and from whence it spread. And so when the testing was done, that was required by the school, and all of the people that were mentioned to me by name showed positive and none of the others did, that pretty well confined it for me and for the state epidemiology, that this was not, we were not at risk, we were not in danger.
That bore out because you saw the trend, not the trend, but the positivity
Right,
stopped,
just-
basically.
Yeah, it's just literally dropped off.
If I may.
Go ahead, Kevin.
So for clarification, because I thought you said the school was considered an outbreak though, correct?
No.
Okay, I thought I heard you say.
No, they were considering calling it an outbreak
Okay.
at school, but it was not in final
Never was
classification.
classifying that.
Okay,
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify
Yes,
that
sir.
because it kind of
Didn't
sounded
have anybody.
one
else
way or the
comment.
other there a minute ago, so.
How many positives did they have at the school?
You're talking about students now, or you're talking about
School.
students and parents?
No, we're talking about the school.
School of teachers.
School of teachers, I had no teachers reported to me.
That's not what I was asking, sir. I'm sorry.
There were 2 students.
How many people at the school were positive in this last go around?
5.
Okay, and we don't consider that an outbreak.
No, because it wasn't relative to just scattered through the school. There were people who spent time together in a home.
It was localized
Yeah,
to
in
a
a
party,
home for
basically.
several hours together and nobody else. So an outbreak
They didn't
is
get
where
it in
it
school.
is uncontrolled, where we're worried epidemiologically that there is going to be an uncontrolled spread.
And Commissioner Candace said you're doing the contact tracing. Is that true?
I am contact tracing as I always have been, plus the state is contact tracing, which they always are. Most
That
of
was
the
my
time.
understanding, that they were doing the contact tracing.
They are doing the long form, so to speak, that I contact also.
So does that mean that we have the opportunity, because you're personally involved, a little quicker response and then waiting for the state to get somebody that finally.
And in this case, the family responded before they even talked to anybody else.
Good.
So they're very, very good about that stuff.
I might add on that, just from personal note. I have 2 sisters and 2 other family members, sister and a husband, and a sister and her son that have come down with it in Fremont County. And to the best of my knowledge, they haven't even been traced down there. So I think it's good to hear that we still are and staying on top of it there, but I know that they have not down there been contacted.
That's the
And I
personal
think they've been
relationship.
pulled off of the state, and I don't think the county picked it up.
Yeah, I was
So-
extremely impressed with this family. I mean, they could not have done more. They could not have acted more responsibly. It was just very, very impressive.
Okay. Good.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so that brings us up to speed on the status. Are there other issues or any other issues associated with that we need to be aware of?
The issues are we're going to continue to have people come down with COVID. I mean, just like we have people continue to come down with the flu.
Swine flu.
Yeah, or whatever. But when they act immediately and responsibly and self-isolating before anybody tells them to, just they do what they're supposed to do, we have a very good chance in this valley of doing things that I don't know that could be done easily in Denver.
Well, that begs the question, how are we looking around at the other counties? We see that we've got 3/5 of the population vaccinated now, and I'm sure there's people that have been vaccinated that don't know about. And then there are people that'll never get vaccinated. How are the other counties? I know Pueblo's still, I was just down there and they're still running around in the, are they orange or yellow now?
It changes from day to day depending on how many people show up.
But they are the worst one that borders us. I know that Alamos or but we had the mountains separating us from the western slope.
Fremont has had its problems. Chaffee County has had its problems because they have the prison system. And the prison system keeps moving prisoners. As soon as they get it under control, this prison, they keep moving
Their guards are
prisoners
getting
in.
bringing it down.
Yeah, so it's never a stability situation for them. It's very frustrating for them.
What is Fremont County now? Green? Are they blue?
In which
I don't know,
status?
but they're not orange.
No.
Okay. The only reason I'm asking, because that to me is how we're going to get it, is somebody's going to bring it back up here, and it's just life.
Yeah, and that's why I was concerned when I saw the employee of the penal system show up positive, and then I checked where his address was, and it wasn't here.
Okay.
So.
All right. Thank you. That clears that up. And I know our sanitarian's not here anyway, but there's nothing you're aware of that.
Nothing I'm aware of, sir.
So we've totally vaccinated a total of 1,300 people. Is that correct, according to your May 3rd email I'm looking
Yes,
at?
sir. Actually, I think it's very close, but it's approximately, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at 1323 on
Yes,
that
sir.
report.
Plus the
So as I said,
41.
it's approximate.
So the 41's included in that 1323 that you did on Friday?
Yes, sir. And that's I would like to give you exact numbers that we still have yet to go, but some of the people don't ever return a phone call anymore. They apparently just decided they didn't need
Not gonna
it.
come back.
And other people have gone elsewhere and haven't told us yet. So we don't know precisely who's going to
So do
return.
you keep them on the list to keep calling
Yes, sir.
until somehow they just give up?
Yeah, we'll probably give them the month of May.
Okay, any other questions from people here publicly? Questions for him? Okay, how about online? No?
So it looks like we've vaccinated, second dose vaccinated 26% of the population if we buy into 5,000 people.
No, it would be 26% of the total population,
Correct.
including men, women, and children.
Correct.
So since we're not looking at the kids, literally.
Oh, I thought we were already.
No one under 18.
Yeah, we can't with Moderna
Right.
vaccine do anybody under 18. Can we with Pfizer? We can go down to 16. And if they get their act together as far as doing more studies, we would like to be able to do some of our high-risk kids.
Do we have any idea of what the percentage could be or would be, or do we know enough about how many kids there are in the county?
I
'Cause
don't, sir.
that would bump it up quite a bit. I don't know if it's quite a bit.
I still think of 18-year-olds as kids.
They think of us as geezers, so.
Well, I agree with that.
The older I get, the higher the age limit is for kids, so.
All right, any other questions? All right, let's then consider, from a metrics point of view, and we've discussed that already. So I think our first new business item is no other things that we need to worry about, except, are we gonna have this another Board of Health meeting in 2 weeks? What would you like to schedule? Because right now we're kind of stabilized, but we want to stay on top of it. You are already day to day.
Trying to.
We can schedule the next one after the Wetmore meeting perhaps, or maybe at the end of the month. What, based on what you're seeing, when would you like to do that?
We don't meet in Wetmore.
Yeah, we don't meet, that's right. We don't meet here, is where we meet, but
To me, it doesn't make any difference where we meet, but if,
no, I wasn't implying that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Our BOCC meeting is, I'm just trying to tie it in with some other meetings. So you want to give it 2-3 weeks
are you asking me?
Mhm.
Okay.
based on what you see and
Based
give
on
us a
what I see,
recommendation?
things are fairly well plateaued. There's a little bit of a bump there for last week. But it's basically, we're doing quite well in our county. We're seeing some of the effects of some of the surrounding counties, but I'm not highly concerned. And if I become so, then I will be contacting each of you.
You want to schedule it on the fly then?
I think that probably wouldn't, we have to have our meeting once a month. But if
Yeah.
we need to have
So
something
let's, all
sooner.
right, let's look toward the end of the month
Yes, sir.
on 30 May, I should say. Or is it 31 days, half May?
31.
31.
Last day of May is the 28th.
Yeah, we meet the 28th of June.
All right, let's schedule it for that as the required.
28th of May.
We're scheduled to
And then,
28 minutes.
conduct a staff meeting at Warren on the 28th, Bill.
so let's play that then and then we'll hit if anything comes up, because the guards at the detention centers, then we'll consider doing it on the fly.
You say there's a staff meeting
Yes.
on the,
On the 28th,
would we be better to go on the
Staff meeting.
19th?
it's not after the meeting though, is it, Tom?
Yeah.
Well, they always have been.
Oh, that's for the separate staff meeting that we had, not the staff reports. And that would be, who's doing
How
that?
about we do it on the 1st? Because we're not having a mid-month meeting in
First of
June.
June.
Yeah, that would
That's
be
just
fine.
a suggestion.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Keeps it clustered.
So June 1.
And
At 1:30.
1:30, it seems to be the prime time.
So I do have a question.
Go for it.
I didn't forget it anyway.
It's the second thing it goes, Tom.
Yeah, I'll bring it up later if I
Think of-
had to do with the first item of business, but I don't know, it's got by me.
It'll come back. All right, the next one was a discussion of the waiver for now CDPHE. We don't have a waiver pending, but we've got the qualifications letter. Is that what you're referring to? Did you put that on there, Tom, or didn't?
No,
Yes.
we on the
The discussion.
waiver
The
to
waiver.
CDPHE? Yeah, I just want to know where we're at. You submitted one?
It was the minimum qualifications letter, and we didn't ask for a waiver in that. It was just,
We didn't, but they did, correct?
no.
No.
Nobody asked.
Can I, before we go on to that? I've
Sure.
got a couple other things that I'm concerned about. If people end up with COVID at the same time as they have influenza or some of the other diseases that can be vaccinated against, that can be a much more serious situation. So for people who are at risk, I'm concerned that
So do you have all those identified?
we have a number of them identified. Would I ever say that we have everybody in the county who's at risk identified? That would be a no. But anybody who's 65 or older is at risk with just plain simple old quote unquote influenza.
Mhm.
I have some numbers that I can give you, but it is anybody who is 6 months, and this is from CDC,
Mhm.
anybody who is 6 months of age or older should get, CDC, remember, a flu vaccine every flu season with rare exceptions. As with COVID-19,
6 month old,
6 month old onward.
Hmm.
Yes, before that.
even though they're
time.
not allowing us to shoot
Yeah,
COVID shots.
little babies.
Hmm.
But more than 3,500 Coloradans are hospitalized last flu season from the flu, not COVID, not anything else.
So that's normal.
3,500 is pretty normal, and 3 children died. So it's just a really good thing to consider for yourself and for your families. In the United States, tens of thousands of Americans died in the 2019, 2020 season, according to CDC. And the people at more risk, as I said, adults 65 and older, and particularly with serious medical complications, are young children, pregnant women, and people with chronic health conditions such as heart disease.
So you're already publishing that and,
Yes.
and
Yeah, it's time
helping
to start
everybody
thinking
understand,
about that.
okay, are you gonna do a school or a health fair kind of thing in the future to help
We
along?
won't be able to until this coming fall, winter, spring,
Okay.
sometime.
Or is there anything that we ought to be announcing press release wise for the summer crowd to keep in mind, just as here's some safety reminders, not to scare anybody, but just it's normal health
And these are
department
things that I
issue.
just read off to you are going to be submitted. Another thing that I really wanted to touch on. Lots of people work outside here.
Hmm.
The ranchers, farmers, people just, trail hikers and so on. I have received permission to publish an excerpt from a sunscreen warning that a lot of the claims for sunscreen, just because it's a high number, doesn't mean it's a good thing for you. And the higher the number doesn't mean it's better. So and I want to publish this on our county public health website because it's quite long and has charts on it for people to read and
Okay,
to do comparisons on it. So if that's okay with you.
well, that's something you.
Yes.
Is it okay with you? You need to get with
It is okay.
Reggie and what these are these tidbits. Did you know that sunscreen doesn't help you that much or could?
But it does help some, but we're at such a high altitude, such a low filtration through our atmosphere that people are really, really much higher at risk than what they understand or accept themselves to be frequently. So it'll be there for public consumption shortly.
Okay, good.
And that's all that's required.
In regards to that, yeah, I went through some of that. That's a lot of material you got there on that, so that you submitted, so.
But we have a lot of skin cancers that aren't necessary in this valley.
Yes,
Wear a hat, wear whatever, right?
Just cover yourself up when it's the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
And then die of the heat stroke. So, because you're damned if you do it, damned if you don't. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So let's get back then, Clint, you have anything, update on the qualifications letter?
No, I think that what you sent to CDPHE did not request a waiver because it was my belief that he met the qualifications without a waiver. They could certainly, and I think actually if there's any question about anything, it would be more of a substitution than a waiver. There's a waiver or a substitution, but Michelle Shimamura had promised or said she'd have a response by the first part of last week. So we're about a week overdue now. I haven't heard anything.
Right, and in fact, we as a board endorsed the fact that he was fully qualified from all points of view.
Well, from what you had prepared back in December, it apparently sent, but somehow got lost. So it was the same thing that was
So
sent to.
I resent that document, and so that's good. And she's got it. She did respond to me and said, thanks for the update. Or getting it, and so.
But I certainly think
I can, Tom, do you want me to send you what I sent her?
Well, it'd be nice
I
because
thought I did.
the last communication I have with some client that said that he'd exchanged emails with Shimamura and that she will have a decision during the qualifications first part of next week. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Did we get something back from her?
No, that's what it is.
So we don't know.
So we don't have
more than we
anything
did.
back other than,
And there was not a specific request for a waiver or a substitution.
right, it was just, we did exactly what all the other counties were requested to do at that time, and that's to get these in, because in the past, they hadn't been asking.
And they certainly, I'm sure they had the option, the flexibility in their review process to,
Right.
if they feel a waiver or a substitution is necessary,
Sounds like you got a good relationship with her too.
they can do that.
Yeah.
And based on Dr. Brown's qualifications, the things that are absolutely unchallenged in his qualifications, I should think he would qualify either way without any question whatsoever.
I would agree, but that's not the case yet, correct?
It's not.
Doesn't matter what we think, it's
No.
what CDPHE is gonna do or not do.
Right, I mean, he had the master's of, degree in public health listed there.
Yeah.
You accepted it. I asked her to go ahead and accept it, CDPHE to accept that it was satisfactory to you.
Does,
But we haven't heard anything.
right,
But
it's
even
not unlike it.
if for some reason that they had any question about that, his qualifications, even without that, would be sufficient, in my opinion, based on my review of the requirements.
Okay, good.
So I'm assuming if Shimamura does reply to you, you will forward that to us so we know what's going on, correct?
Instantly.
I think she'll not just do it to Clint.
Oh, I think it would come to the board. of
It will be, because that's who sent it to her, was the board. So, all right. Any other questions? Kevin,
I have none.
Tom, any? All right, any public comments out here? Okay, how about anybody lighting up out there? Not? Gosh, I'm gonna be missing the next 20 minutes of talking. We good, everybody? No public comments, and we have no planned executive session, so I would move that we adjourn.
Second.
Move the second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Tom?
Aye.
Ken?
Aye.
Kanda, aye.